last summer, at the end of last spring, early summer, the Senate Committee on Natural Resources took up a package of bills from the House dealing with commercial fishing. And it really highlighted the need to update a law that hasn't been touched by the legislature in over 50 years, and has a section in it that literally says, regardless of what all things are in this law, the department can do whatever it wants. Abridge, amend, exempt, add to it, take away from it, and they have for 50 years. It's a big part of why the legislature never bothered to update it. But we undertook to do a serious update because it's gotten clunky and difficult to use and very confusing. My committee took on a work group for 2 months, met with all of the stakeholders who were willing to discuss with us, took hours of testimony, and came up with an amended plan to those House bills that included 130 some amendments, all individually introduced for consideration. And the response from the department was, we don't like any of these. Please pass the bill we sent you. And subsequently, they also issued an order under the existing law to rescind a whole bunch of previous orders, which left commercial fishing coming into the new year with the inability to get its permits, with the inability to know how deep they could fish, where they could go. It was a disaster. Such a disaster that by the end of January, the department rescinded those orders from November, December to put it back to the status quo. And this is the world of negotiating that has been going on for years between commercial fishing interests, sportsmen's interests, the department's interests. And so I introduced a bill recently, Senate Bill 251, to simply put into reference the current status quo. This is where we're at. So that once that's adopted, the parties could once negotiate, but they would not have to worry about the department yanking the rug out from underneath them, simply just changing the rules right in the middle of the game. So we had our hearing today, and the department chose not to come. Instead sends me a letter which at one point even expresses confusion about the word commission, even though in NREPA defines what commission is. But they act like they don't know. It's confusing. You'll have to give us more illumination. And act like, one thing where I say in the bill that those who've been trawling for fish, which is one guy for over 60 years, if you've been doing it, he could continue to have that license. They're like, oh, we don't like that because that's going to stop us from issuing additional trawling licenses, even though they haven't issued an additional trawling license for over 70 years and have refused to do so. And in the bills that they supported last term, the trawling ability was gone. I mean, this doesn't make sense. This is bonkers from the department and insulting to all the work that I and the committee have put into this for months. And they've told me this is their priority. And yet they choose not to even show up. No phone call, a crazy letter that doesn't even make sense, that's laughable in its objections. It's uncalled for and unprofessional. And it's not helping the people of Michigan solve this problem that numerous parties agree exists, including the department agrees exists. And so I don't know where to go from here except to come out and publicly challenge the department to get off of its butt and start being a fair negotiator about this issue, to come in and discuss these terms. What don't you like about it? The final thing, the most important thing, is we move to using administrative rules and the rules process to make changes, which allows emergency rules to be promulgated. And they say in the letter, that's not enough time for us, and something big happens. Yet the Department of Environmental Quality has that exact same statute governing its ability to issue emergency rules. The health department has that. We have an administration that's become an expert in emergency rules. And this department says, sorry, that's not enough for us. We need more. I'd like my remarks printed in the Journal.